Well, first came the news that fewer American women are marrying than ever before, and now we're learning that for those who do get married, apparently they are waiting now until they're financially well off before tying the knot. The Wall Street Journal reports a growing number of American couples are waiting until they've built successful careers before saying, I do. The piece goes on to explain, quote, the idea of both parties waiting to build a career or wealth before tying the knot is called a capstone model of marriage. The problem, researchers say, is that a capstone view of marriage raises the bar for people who think their lives need to look like before they wed.
This is what happens when you prioritize money over family and love. The problem with this is, as women get older, it's harder to conceive. See, as men get older, they still have the ability to conceive. So, what we gotta understand is, you wanna have baby as young as you possibly can. I can't understand why women can't do both. Have a career and start a family. I just can't understand why they can't do both.
I could not disagree more with this. I know that my generation has concerns specifically about affordability, but let me just say, I got married right out of college when we had barely anything to our names, and I'm so glad that we did, because we got to grow up together. You get to succeed together, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything without my husband being my partner in all of this. And now I get to go home to my 8-week-old baby. I had a baby, and it's just the best thing. You know, careers, they come later. They'll always be there, but your children, your family, that's what's most important.
That all sounds nice, but no one wants to build together anymore. They want the man to be at his top financial peak before they even consider marrying him. No one wants to build anymore. We're in a microwave society where people are impatient, and that's what leads to a lot of debt, because if you got two incomes in the household working together, it's better than one. But most people don't understand that reality.
I 100% agree with that. In fact, I wish I got married 10 years earlier than I did, because I learned raising children takes a tremendous amount of energy.
Yes.
And you want to do that when you're young. And you also want to enjoy them as they grow up, and you're still around to enjoy them turning into people beyond babies. You know, they start to walk, and then they're talking, and then they start to have real world problems. It's a wonderful thing, family. But you can't have a family without a financial plan. Because, you know, I say this to so many couples that are contemplating marriage. The reason most marriages end is not infidelity. After 5 to 7 years, 50% fail because of financial pressure. So women should keep their financial identity. They should all get prenups. I invested in a little prenup run by a woman for women, and force them to do due diligence on a potential partner. Were they bankrupt? Are they in debt? Whatever it is. You need to, that first baby born the minute you're married is called money. That little money's...
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it is. And it's sitting over in that chair, and if you don't have the little money beside you, you're in a lot of trouble. So you got to plan together, whatever it is. But planning together is a good thing. But I think marriage in your 20s, go do it, because you'll thank me in your 40s.
To me, there's 3 reasons why a marriage would end in divorce. Finances is one of them, because if you're having money issues, you're going to always be in there arguing, and stress level is going to be through the roof. Number 2 is if the family doesn't like you, or the other family doesn't like them, you're going to always constantly be butting heads about that. And the 3rd reason of why you would probably end up in the divorce is how you raise kids. If one person has one way of how they want to raise kids and the other person has another way of how to raise kids, it's not going to work. If you have one of these things, the marriage is doomed. All 3, you can forget about it. It's over.
I take away, get married, build the future, and then wait to have a child?
No. Have the kids when you're young. You deal with all
How do you do all of that unless you're born rich?
Look, nothing's more important than family, and you'll realize that when you're in your 50s.
Well, as Charlie Kirk would say, have more kids than you can afford.
Yes.
That was his entire life message.
Wow.
And then put them to work.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Well, in 8 weeks, I think you're doing it on your own with your husband.
Yeah, I work for him.
Yes, I will say, Erica Kirk described marriage beautifully last night. She described it as being one flesh. Like Kaylee, you said it, you're in this together. You're building life together. You're building your career together, your family. And I just want to read 2 sentences of what she said. My marriage with Charlie was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I know it was the best thing that ever happened to him as well. He wanted everyone to experience that joy, and that's what's so beautiful about God's design for marriage, is that everyone can. And if you choose not to, you're missing out on life, having that partner in life, and then if it's in your heart, having children.
Before I come to you, I want to get to this. Charlie Kirk, about 2 weeks ago on the Ingram Angle, talking about why it's important to get married. We'll hear it from him.
I'll say this, is that having children is more important than having a good career. I have 2 kids. I also have an amazingly blessed career. Our podcast is doing great, but my kids matter way more than how many social media followers that I have. And I would also tell young ladies, you can always go back to your career later, that there is a window where you primarily should pursue marriage and having children, and that is a beautiful thing. This is not about shaming. It's not about ridiculing. It's not about moralizing. It's about lifting up what is beautiful.
I agree with Charlie to a point. But having kids to a man is about legacy. It's about legacy. Because scripture clearly states that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So men have to be providers. They have to be protectors. And they also have to be leaders. Yes, kids are the most important institution within a family. But you still have to be a provider as a man.
Molly.
I could not agree more with what he said. I love my career. I love what I get to do. Being in journalism, running the Federalist, being here at Fox News, getting to write books. I love it. And I would still say that 99% of my happiness comes from my husband and from my kids. That's where all of my fulfillment is. And my husband and I did get married later than we would have liked. And one of the things I learned from that, though, is that I think a lot of women think that men have to reach a certain level of stability to marry them. It's actually the act of getting married and having kids that for a lot of men makes them be such wonderful people. And so you want to do your due diligence on who you're marrying. I agree. Make sure they're financially responsible and things like that. But also that growth happens in marriage and you get to do it together.
And ladies got to push that guy. I push my husband. I said, we're doing this. Like, I'm not waiting much longer. So you got to give him a little push.
Well, and the data show that actually marriage encourages greater financial success, especially among men. Fatherhood also encourages greater financial success. That's just what the numbers say.
And speaking for all men,
Well, now I know why they call this show Outnumbered. That's it.
Yep.
Well, look, I think getting in the family unit is fantastic. Earlier, better. More kids, better. I think it took me a lifetime to figure that out. I wish I could be my younger self, knowing what I know today about this whole thing. But I agree with everybody here. Family first, but get your kids when you're young. They eat you alive. When you're young.
Thank you.
A lot of times, a lot of the degrees that a lot of women get, basket weaving and stuff like that, doesn't generate a lot of income. But then when they get in a relationship with a man, they bring in that debt. And again, we all know, like I said, finances is one of the number one causes of divorce. So yeah, I just believe that you should come together, work together, build together, and then grow together. But let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow God, not culture.